the recording here.
Okay. Pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it
that
stands,
stands
one
one
nation,
nation
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty
liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Public participation, but there's no public.
No, I think our counselors, and as I mentioned, Kelly
Right.
DeCosta is now the Republican liaison to our commission. But unfortunately, our scheduled night is the same night as the town council meeting, so we'll see her next time. We did give a tour, just so you know, to all of the town councilors last week over 2 nights, and so hopefully, they'll get a good introduction.
Okay.
I just have 2 things I would like to mention. Or is it, can I mention?
Well, this is public,
This is public participation.
yeah.
Okay,
So
well,
you wanna, can we have the approval of, last month's minutes?
Somebody had a chance to read them, you could make a motion.
I make a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting.
second,
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Staff report or program and services report.
Sure, Ed, if you want to, it may or may not be related to what I'm about to say.
the 2 things I just want to know is what's the story about the Patty Foley
I have no
presentation?
idea.
When we're supposed,
Here, yeah. I thought, because I know the NCTV was doing something. Well, we could do that now that the new room is open. We can do that whenever. We'll figure something out for the next month or something.
okay, and when is the smoking pad gonna be completed?
It's completed now. They
Yes.
just completed it yesterday, so we'll put the word out, and I'll do that during my report.
I
talked
just
about that,
suggest
right?
that the bench get removed because people will still be smoking out there.
Yeah, but we want, let me do this during the proper part of the agenda. Okay.
Okay, so we'll go to the staff report and service report.
Sure, so, November again, wonderful month, very, very, very busy. The biggest thing you read in your email is that we held our expo. We had, we probably had 300 people there. It's hard to tell for sure, but we print programs, and then we hand them out, and that's kind of an unofficial way for us to count how many people were there. Although some people sneak through, so that's our estimate. We had 54 vendors, plus the Giving Garden was there, and they did a big plant sale. They did very well. We netted $7,000. We were really good at keeping our costs down this year. I think we've done this for a number of years now. We kind of figure out how to be efficient with it. So it's extremely successful. If anything, it was a little bit too hectic and crowded in the beginning. Everybody rushed in at once. So we'll be looking for ways to try to mitigate and have the crowd come in more throughout the time period. Because there's no coming early doesn't really give you any kind of benefit or, advantage. It's just good if you come, an hour into it. So we're going to try to make that communication next year that you don't all have to rush in right when it opens, because it made it, we did have a gentleman who unfortunately got a little overheated and passed out. He was fine.
Oh, God.
By his luck, he passed out right in front of the Newington EMS booth. So it was like and with the police officer's booth right next to it. So he was in very good hands and he was absolutely fine. But I think we're gonna want to do a little bit of crowd control next year and just encourage people to maybe come by a little later,
Yeah, and you can't open the windows in
You
the
can't,
rooms
no.
to get fresh
Not
air
anymore,
in.
no.
And,
There-
might make it, if there's so many people and everybody
Yeah.
you get overheated.
Mhm.
They're
But
afraid they're not gonna get their free pencil or whatever.
oh, the vendors know to bring plenty of free pencils because
I know.
some candy, because if you run out, that's on them. They nobody, people will complain. So that was wonderful. Then that led right into the library's book sale. We were initially a little leery of that schedule, but it worked out perfectly. We didn't even have to take down the tables in the auditorium. They just set up the book sale around that. That won't happen again next year because their board wishes to have the sale a little bit earlier in the fall. So, but it worked out great. And then, of course, on Tuesday, we held our Veterans Day ceremony, which is extremely well attended. We had over 100 people in the audience. The singing seniors were not able to perform this year, so we were able to secure the high school chamber choir, which was very nice. And then we actually had a surprise wedding after the ceremony. 2 service members had decided to get married, and they did it right after the ceremony. They had the priest who was at the ceremony married them, and then they went off to, I think they were going to Puerto Rico with family to have a big reception. So that was pretty cool.
Wow.
Yep, it was really neat. It's definitely a first, definitely a first. it kind of, we didn't know about it ahead of time. They just announced it at the very end of the veteran ceremony. And I think it confused the poor people in the main office because these people are coming in saying, where do we go for the wedding? They're like, what wedding? You know, so, we got that figured out. We got everybody in place. Other things that we had, everything was very busy. We had a great karaoke session, super fun. We bring her in from time to time and she'll actually sing with you. So if like you're a little shy and don't want to get up there by yourself, at least you have somebody who's like a really good singer up there with you. We had a program where Eversource came to discuss how to read and understand your electric bill. We had discussions about stress relief. We had a nice prime time Monday evening sing along program. We had a meditation program. We had a VA came and did a lunch and learn about burial benefits for veterans. So we had a great month. We, as you know, of course, we discussed at the last meeting, there was the issue with SNAP benefits in October. That was resolved. As you know, the state indicated they were going to fully fund SNAP, and then a couple days later, the government reopened itself. So we were all hands on deck, ready to go. Right now, there's no indication that that's going to happen again, but what we're looking at now is when the new bill comes into effect, there will be more restrictions on SNAP benefit recipients. So we're working closely with Human Services to make sure that nobody falls through the cracks, that everybody understands, what the changes are to help them find resources and that type of thing. We are still storing some food bank donations on our stage. That was one of the big things. We kind of had a backup food bank. And the cross-country team came in, the Newington High School cross-country team came in and organized them all. So there was like a secondary food bank on our stage for a bit. And then the CERT team also came and helped. Then Human Services took that food across the street. And then a couple days later, they had a huge donation, like many, many, many boxes that we put up on the stage again. So we'll continue to assist them, however we can. They did, I don't have numbers, but Human Services did report an increase in signups for families using the food bank because they heard about the SNAP issue and they're like, well, we could use some help. And so there is an increase in food bank usage as a result. So, so that's for November. What else? We have, of course, a bunch of building things to talk about, including this room that we're sitting in now. So I can do that during the building part. Other than that, if there's any questions on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, old business budget update.
Okay, so I put in a CIP request. This is the first one I think we've done at the senior center in many years, ever since I've been here at least, for upgrades to our kitchen. And that goes to our long-term plans of supplying congregate lunch in-house rather than bringing in outside food. So I worked with our facilities director, Joe Salamone. He came in. Our kitchen is fully equipped now. It is a pretty decent commercial kitchen, but it's not intended for food preparation in the way that we want to do it. Which will still be simple things within our food license, like we're not making gourmet, meals or anything like that, but we can prepare things. In order to do that, we do need some items, including a commercial dishwasher. We would be bringing in reusable, like plates and knives and silverware and everything else rather than using paper, more environmentally friendly and sustainable. But we need a dishwasher, of course, for that to happen. And then the related plumbing and HVAC and all that stuff. We calculated, assuming growth over the years, that we'd be serving, 60 to 70 plus people at some point daily, which is what we did pre-pandemic. And we're kind of creeping back up there. That we would need a larger refrigerator and freezer, commercial refrigerator and freezer. And our commercial refrigerator is pretty old anyway. It's kind of on its last legs. And just some better storage of actual food storage racks as opposed to like the hand-me-down file cabinets that we use now, things of that nature. And then the work related to that. So all told, it would be about a $60,000 CIP request. So if you don't know, CIP is capital improvement. It is intended for projects that would be a duration or have a lifespan of more than 7 years and a value of more than $25,000. So if it falls under those guidelines, then it just goes into our regular budgetary request. CIP is as longer term, bigger projects, they schedule them out 5 years. So I had a preliminary meeting with the town manager on it. We will have the actual requests were due to finance last week. We'll have official meetings with the town manager coming up, and then he'll make his decisions to recommend to the town council. I did ask for it to be funded in the next fiscal year, just so we could not, kick the can and get going. But if they do decide to fund it over 2 years or delay it to the second year, we could work our way in, like we could do a gradual, increase in bringing in food from the outside. Parallel to that, starting in the spring, once we have an idea of what the town council's thoughts are on this and whether or not we'll get funded, we have non-budgetary work to do, but it's still part of the process, like we're gonna need to update our food license and make sure that everybody's trained and serve safe and budget our purchases and do that whole side of it, but we need to make sure that we're gonna get the kitchen first.
Can I question on that? The stove, because I've actually looked at that stove and I've cleaned it, you saw.
Mhm.
It, in my opinion, because it's so old,
Mhm.
in order for it to be reused, would have to be majorly restored. I
No,
don't.
it's in full working order. They
It is-
actually,
it is?
it's unplugged because we don't want anybody
I know,
accidentally
yeah.
turning it on. But it actually is maintained every year along with the HVAC hood. It is in full operating order. We just don't use it. So it'll be ready at some point. Will we need to replace it? Yes, but that would probably be like a second phase thing. Cause,
Because my thought is, why don't we just replace with a regular stove?
well, we want commercial quality equipment. I think right now our focus needs to be, and this is not just me, because I don't know like all this stuff, but this is in consulting with the facilities department and everything else. I think if we're gonna ask the council for $60,000, I think we should ask for a dishwasher and things that we actually need first.
Oh,
That we
yeah, I
don't have
agree,
now,
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, that could be a second phase thing. There's a reason we have that commercial stove. I think it's probably a regular one, it's probably not gonna have the capacity that we need, because don't forget, it has the ovens too.
Yeah,
So that's another thing, but and it has the very big involved hood system, like
Yeah.
the fire hood system and everything. So that's a big, we looked at replacing a hood system for the soccer club and our, I like a little snack shack just so we can make a hot dog and stuff. And that was like a $30,000 thing right there. So I think it's gonna maybe be a little bit of a bigger ticket item down the road.
Is with the goal to also get away from CRT and to do the Meals on Wheels, that everything would be prepared?
Not yet. That could definitely be a longer term thing. My goal is to get away from CRT or any kind of congregate provider for in-person lunches. But because the Meals on Wheels, are for people who have very specific dietary
Right.
needs, very specific medical conditions, we would need to bring in a dietitian and there's a lot more about
nutritionist and
nutritionists
things
and all
like
those
that.
things. And it wouldn't be something that I would feel comfortable that we could accomplish at this point unless we had like more staff to do it. So what I'm doing on that side is I'm always keeping my eye out for other providers. Most of them are more expensive than what we have, so.
like, what about like things like Juniper and all those other things to do?
Juniper is private, so they're not part of the federal nutrition program, which means that the folks who are getting them are paying a lot of money for them. So if we're looking at keeping it in the same
Okay.
realm, yeah. And anybody who gets Meals on Wheels can go out, if finances aren't a concern, they can go out and look at CW Resources, Juniper, October Kitchen, there's a bunch of providers.
Yeah, but they're a lot more expensive. It's like $13 a meal because I have gotten some from them.
Yeah, we spent 14.
Right, but
So we
those.
got money, we
Well, we
got.
get money from the government.
Right.
The recipients would not in this case.
Mm.
You don't get all the money that we used to get, but the majority of it, of the Meals on Wheels are still covered.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's definitely not ignoring Meals on Wheels, because that's a huge expense.
Yeah.
But right now we know we can control the in-person. So that's where our focus is gonna be.
Okay,
And we're doing well. Oh, I'm like out of order here. We're still in budget. Okay.
right,
Okay.
yeah. So I guess the nutrition program, but
Yep, I just kind of talked about
Yeah.
it. We're funded through, I always kind of have like the goalpost of when we're gonna run out of money. If we stop collecting money, and we're still good to the end of the fiscal year. So hopefully the town council will fund it like they did it this year. And we'll be able to do our fundraising and stretch it until we could switch over to doing it ourselves.
So what are we up to, what date are we funded to?
It is actually going to be through like mid-July, so a tiny bit
July.
into, mid-July until a little bit into the next fiscal year, like July 17th or something, I think, that's in my check. And that's if we don't collect any money or, so obviously we can keep pushing that out as long as we don't experience any significant increases. And there are no further cuts to CRT, which their budget started on October 1st, and it was the same as last year's, so I don't see it, with any major changes.
okay. SNAP program updates and communication.
Yep, I guess I already did that. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, without that in front of me,
No,
I'm out of
that's
order. Okay.
All right, the security system.
So the security system is fully in place. There are cameras along the hallways and outside of the building. The second phase, and this was all funded by, a CIP through the facilities department, and it involved us, the, library, and some improvements to the police department, although they're obviously heavily secured. So they've all been installed. The next phase next year, if there are surplus funds, will be to install some more cameras in certain program rooms. But right now our focus is on the hallways, the entrances and exits, and the parking lot. What I'm hoping now is we could bring our buses back into the parking lot as opposed to storing them or parking them at the police department. Cause a pain for the drivers every day to pick them up and drop them off there. But we are having so many problems with catalytic converter theft. So hopefully this will be a deterrent now, to doing that. We also have our key fob system in, so if you tried to come in the door and close to the cafeteria, not the sliding one, but the one you pull open, you'll notice it's locked. That door will remain locked from the outside. You could always get out from inside. For any evening time openings, that was at the suggestion of the study that the state did for us as part of this funding to do the security updates. They said we need to have more control of our entrances after hours. So that door automatically locks at 4:30 from the outside and then automatically unlocks in the morning when we open. We can override it, but I don't know, I can't like turn it off so that it's open for everybody. So we have that, and then like I said, we have our staff have their key fobs. It's just, we can, if there's an emergency, we can lock everything down. And that's something we've never been able to do before. Anything that has a fob.
And just out of curiosity, the security system is just on some sort of, is there like a taping that stays?
Oh, yep, so it's retained for 30 days. If we needed to, if there was a problem and we need to review and we downloaded something, it could be downloaded and saved on a drive or something,
Oh,
so it won't
okay.
delete.
So nobody's actively watching it?
No, I mean, I
recording.
could pull
Well,
it
you
up and
could,
actively
but,
watch it if I had nothing else to do,
fair
but
enough,
yeah. It's more, I think it'll be helpful, and unfortunately, we have people who fall or things
Yeah.
like that. It's helpful to see, what
Right.
happened.
Do we have any signs around
Yes.
outside saying security? Already,
Mhm.
okay, I didn't see it.
It's required by law at each entrance.
All right. Door counter. For
right.
Karen's thing.
Karen's favorite
It's just
thing.
not something that, that a lot of buildings do now because there's so many other ways for security and to count and keep records, but it is important to her, so it's always been on IT's radar. It's just a matter of if it's an expense that the council's gonna wanna grant us or not moving
Right.
forward.
I thought there was one there.
Do you have so we have door counters are automatic sensors in the doors that when you go in,
Yeah.
it counts that somebody went in, somebody went out. They're
Oh,
not super
those-
accurate because there's a lot of redundancy of people going in and out, especially people that work here, that are going in and out all day, the bus drivers, the people and
Okay.
everything else. At one point, a couple of years ago, when I started here, even when we do grant applications, they'd ask for that info, but now they ask more for demographics and other things. There's other ways to get the info. They're not the same as the kiosks that you scan into. They're passive.
Okay.
Okay, new business, upcoming activities.
Sure, yeah, I'm trying to think now. We have a lot coming up. We have our holiday celebration coming up, this Friday at 1:00. We are sold out. There's over 100 people registered for it, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. We have upcoming, most of our things for this month are kind of, coming up pretty soon. We have a Ring in the New Year event coming in. It's during the day on December 30th. We will be having our prime time Monday next week is going to be a holiday meditation and kind of a relaxing type of thing. We had a holiday stress lunch and learn. Actually, it was last week, and then we had another one today about telling your story. Moving forward into the next couple months, we're just planning all of our regular programs. We're planning what we want to do for the evening programs. On January, Barbara and I are trying to figure out what we're going to do for our January evening program, but we actually may try having the center open as well for drop-in activities. So you could play pool, if you're a gym member, you can go to the gym, watch TV, do puzzles, any of the things that you would drop in for. We are going to try to see if we get any interest in people coming in the evening while the program's going on. We'll be opening our closet, our portable equipment lending closet for exercise equipment in this very room. I kind of started it here. That will be opening up in January, so people can borrow portable things like yoga mats, yoga balls, resistance bands. We'll have pedometers that you could take, you don't have to give them back. And we'll have instructions and everything for them that people could take and either try them out right here, or they could bring them home and try them out in the comfort of their own home. We'll have like the pedals, like you can sit, watch TV and pedal a little, but it's not like an exercise bike, it's just a small thing. We will have all those types of things available along with instructions, and people can sign them in and out. We did it during the pandemic on a small scale, so that people can come and keep like active, and it was really popular, so we're just gonna go ahead and do that. We unfortunately have not been able to hire a part-time dial-a-ride driver. We had one that unfortunately wasn't able to pan out, so we're back to looking for a driver. Once we do, we are ready to go for our adventure club, which will be daytime bus trips done by us, small bus trips to local attractions, museums, restaurants, that type of thing. We just need a staff member to be able to do it. Even things like, going shopping at the mall, taking hikes, there'll be a whole schedule of things that people can do. So that's what's coming up.
Okay.
Don't forget about Tacky Tuesday.
I'm so sorry. Yes, Tacky Tuesday. And I will also on Tacky Tuesdays wear your ugly or tacky Christmas sweater or whatever, and we'll just have fun.
That is-
Yeah,
No,
that's a good-
trust me, I have something
That's better than
that's
that.
better than this. You know me,
You have a great wardrobe, and I'm remiss in thanking the newly retired Women's Club and Ed, who's also part of that, for Newington Retired Women's Club for their donation to the nutrition program today. They had a holiday party and they presented us with a nice donation. As well.
Nice.
Yes, thank you.
Building updates, but
Sure. So the biggest thing that you notice, of course, is that we're in a room that used to be the gym. If you want on your way out to take a look, we relocated right across the hall. It's fabulous. It looks like a professional LA Fitness. We were able to put in all 4 new pieces of equipment. We removed 2, that old one down there that's about 22 years old. We were notified by the folks that maintain these that one's no longer being maintained, so it's completely obsolete. And then another one that is just redundant to like what we already have and also older. The redundant piece of equipment, we're going to try to get permission from the town manager's office and try to maybe sell it at a decent price to another senior center or somebody who might want it. If not, then we'll donate it because I don't want it to get trashed. It's still usable. So all of our new pieces of equipment are over there. The room layout is much more efficient. The temperature controls are better. I think it's hot, like the heat just gets trapped in this room. And we even got new blinds just to make it all look brand new and fresh and clean. So we're very, very pleased with that. We've got great reviews on that. Again, this room will be used as the lending closet, and also this will be a swing space for meetings, smaller programs. We'll make it maybe possibly a volunteer workspace. It'll probably evolve as we go to what we want to do with it. One little issue that we've had with that being right there is it's right at the entrance. So I think people are noticing it more. So they're just kind of going and exercising. So I am putting out there in our messaging that you do need to be a fitness member in order to use the equipment. There's a small fee, it's $25 a year. But more importantly, you have to get a waiver from your doctor and attend a safety class to learn how to use the equipment prior to using it, just for safety.
Is there a camera in there?
There's no cameras in any of the rooms. They're only in the hallways. And possibly phase 2, but what we found was it's not necessary and people don't necessarily like to be recorded when they're exercising. We'll see. It's something we'll explore in the coming year. The Giving Garden, they removed the pallets and they're starting to dismantle the ground level beds so that we can build the raised beds in the spring. We were able to, I put this in the email, so my pardon it's redundant, but we were able to get piggyback with finance on a PO for Home Depot, which will get us better pricing than we had received estimates for the materials to build the new beds. So the materials are going to start arriving. We could store them out in the back. The pavers and everything, we'll just put them in, cover them with a tarp. We'll get them while the prices are good. And then we'll begin that in the spring. And the other big thing in the building was the security. That's it.
if I could just go back to the exercise room. I mean, I guess if you find that people are using it that shouldn't be using it and something like that, then maybe it might be some sort of consideration where the door has some sort of a fob that
Right.
is issued
We have to let them
to
in.
the people that have paid for the extra things. So then that way, you know who's in there,
Right.
you know that their fob or whatever is gonna say, open the
Yeah.
door to go in or something like that. I mean, I guess if you find that, that may be something that may have to be, started in order to, number one, protect the senior center, because you don't want, like you said, somebody in there that hasn't been cleared
Mhm.
to be exercising on the machine, or even have been shown how to be trained on the machines
Right, right.
too, and things like
That's a
that.
very good point. We might have to do that. Right now, we're doing messaging, so I put it in the robocall last week. We'll put signs up on the doors and we'll keep an eye on it. If we have to do that, we will. Again, during the pandemic, where there were times we were allowed to be partially open, people were able to use the exercise room like by appointment. And we had to have it locked just for that reason, because you'd have to come into the office, check in, and then say, okay, we'll let you into the exercise. Otherwise, people would go in there when they weren't supposed to,
Right.
because the capacity was very low. So if we have to do something like that again, if we have to install a fob or have a certain key, that's what we'll do.
Is the old rule that you cannot work out alone still there?
No, we don't have that anymore.
It
We
used to
haven't
be
had
a love town.
It was, yeah, no, because that would discourage people from. So everybody who's in there working out has theoretically been cleared by a doctor and been through training, so there's no safety reason why. And plus, it's right across from the main office now, it's always eyes on it.
Now, to go off one thing you mentioned about robocall, I made a suggestion to Barbara, and I know she mentioned to you. We have so much medical equipment,
Mhm.
tons of it, that we need to almost get rid of.
Mhm.
I know at one point, I guess you mentioned on a robocall that we have that available.
I could always mention it again.
Because I wonder, how many people really know that we have it here?
Yeah, we do struggle to get the word out. We put it in all of our various forms, but like an occasional reminder, that stuff ebbs and flows. We do have a ton right now. And then sometimes we'll get a big run on it and we won't have anything for a while. So, but I'd rather have, too much and too little, but absolutely, we'll get the word out again. I'll refresh it on the website and put it in the robocall and everything else.
I look forward to your robocalls.
Thank you. I'm glad somebody does. Okay.
Purchase requests.
I don't have anything.
No, okay. Next meeting, date and agenda.
So our next regular meeting, I have one thing to go back to, I'm so sorry too. Next regular meeting would be Wednesday, January 7th, hold on a second. Wednesday, January 7th, because the month starts on a Thursday. So our first Wednesday is the 7th.
Okay. 6 p.m.
Can I have to put a motion for that, or we just gonna do it?
No, I don't think.
No,
so,
what we have to do, which I have to do this week, is we declare what our regular meeting dates are with the town clerk's office for the year. So the January 7th is the you do it for a year plus the following January. So it's already on the calendar. The only time we'd have to make a motion would be like if we had to like reschedule it or something, right now, but otherwise we can do what we need. I'm so sorry. If it's okay with you, may I go back to the building update?
Sure.
Okay, so you had asked earlier in the meeting, about the smoking pad, and it was installed, I think it was installed last week. And so it's right out, you can't see, but if you're on the
I
parking lot,
saw
it's,
them doing work.
it's
out there.
outside the window, if you're looking out the window of the gift shop. That's where it is, because it's 25 feet away from any doors that open. We don't have any opening windows and any air intakes like on the roof or whatever. So we walked around facilities and determined that was the best spot. So there will be signage going up. I just didn't get it out yet. That is per state law. Like if you want to smoke, that's where you smoke. It's like the designated spot, and it's state law. There is a bench outside of the door next to the cafeteria and TV lounge where people typically smoke. Of course, that's not in accordance with state law because it's 2 feet away from the door. You would recommend taking the bench away. I would prefer not to, only because people are supposed to use it when they're like waiting for transportation or a ride or need to take a break. It's unfortunately just become a place for people to sit and smoke. So we will remove the cigarette container thingy from there, and we'll put signage saying, you may not smoke here. It'll be a struggle for sure because it's covered and the other place isn't. So if it's raining or whatever, we're gonna have a hard time, but we will at least do our best to enforce it.
Good way to quit.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I mean, in some respects, there's a lot of places that are state or town or whatever that there's no smoking.
I agree.
on
Oh, I
public
agree.
grounds.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
And we discussed this at the last meeting too. And I would love to just ban smoking. It's just a little
Right.
bit more, I think it would unfortunately cause some issues with some volunteers and some other people. If this doesn't work, that could be the next step.
Did you ever see an airport smoking lounge? They beam you to a sign that says smoking lounge and you walk. Well, one time when I used to smoke,
Mhm.
and it was a door, and it's a smoking lounge. It literally was outside.
Mm. As it should be. Yeah.
Outside,
Yeah, I'm not a
outside.
fan, I'm not advocating or a fan of smoking in any way, shape or form, but that's just, you know,
Right.
it's what it is right now. At least we have, at least we have a legal place for people to sit. We had to make sure it's ADA accessible, you know, which is why it's on like a concrete slab. So if you have a wheelchair or a walker or whatever, you're not gonna trip in the
Right.
grass. They had to meet certain requirements. So it's all set. Parks installed it for us last week.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other public participation since
Ugh,
We
record meeting.
since we have no public? Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second,
Okay, everybody in favor?
I.
I,
Thanks, Shalene. Thank you for coming. I'm gonna stop the recording now.
okay, thanks.